Do you want to learn more about the real Belize and listen to locals and expat stories that are actually living here in Belize? Well, you're in the right place right now. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio, and I'm your host, Macarena Rose. Welcome back, everybody, to Belize Talk Radio, and what an honor to be sitting here with Don Hector. And you have so much information that you just have like layers. I think you have a lot of filing cabinets in your brain because about the history of Belize, the geography of Belize, the political part of Belize, the mountains of Belize, the geography, the weather of Belize. You have it all. Have you always enjoyed and had passion for history? And
Macarena, I came to a conclusion that every human being should know who am I, where am I, why I am here, and where I am going. Those are the four cardinal tests that a person should take in order for him to know himself and to love his country. Why? Who am I? Am I a Belizean? Do I want Belize to be my home as you have selected? That is one of the ingredients that makes you to begin to appreciate the land where you are. So once you know who you are, you go, where am I? And we just discussed it about Belize. Where Belize, the geographic position, the features of Belize, that is where I am, Belize. The other one, why am I here? And that is so important. Why am I here? I am here, first of all, to serve my country, to know my country, to love my country. But within that scope, there are the obligations that every person have. One, to God. Two, your family. Three, your fellow men. That's why Mr. George Price used to say, my fellow Belizeans. Every speech that George Price gave, that the father of the nation, my fellow Belizeans. So that as the one of the other elements. Why am I here? And the final one, where am I going? It doesn't mean that I am going. It's what I will do for my country to move forward, for our people to be in a better living condition. And that's where I gave my 60 years of service to my country, 60, 60, in the movement of independence. And then I began to serve wherever I was asked to serve.
And you did serve from being mayor.
The mayor of the town, 3 terms. Member of the House of Representatives or legislator, 3 terms. Minister twice. Senator twice. And I retired.
And they still call you, and you still help, and you're still so
I
involved.
am still serving.
Oh, so
because
you still
I
serve.
aspire to inspire until I expire.
Did you hear that? I mean, that's powerful. It's one of my favorite things that you just say, and it is so. You are impassioned and empowered with that statement.
You see, Macarena, I'll tell you what. Our great leader George Price said, every person should, first of all, serve others and then serve yourself. No, based upon what he said that? Because those of the Christian faith always remember the words that Jesus said, love thy neighbor as you love yourself. So based upon that, George said, service before self. And I think the Rotary Club has that motto likewise, service before self. That was give service. So that's one of the things that I did. And in so doing, there's another element that drives a human being. How can I judge people? First of all, get into their shoe first. Get into their shoes. And then you invite them to get into yours. But if you do it vice versa, then you are very, the word that they say is very selfish, that you are thinking about yourself. And that's one of the things that disqualifies men and women from being leaders when they begin to serve themselves first and then the rest. And this is seen worldwide today, whereby people complain that they are not getting the service that they were promised at election time.
And they feel it was an empty promise.
Empty promise. And those things are what affect, demoralizes the individual, and at the same time retards the growth of the country. Because if people lose hopes on their leaders, if people convince themselves that politics is a dirty word, where do we go? We are going to have what they say, the law of the jungle, whereby the big animal eat the small one. And we cannot afford that. But Belize has a tremendous future, Macarena. I am seeing Belize in the near future as perhaps the jewel of this entire area. The jewel in this respect, that our population is small.
It is.
It can be handled. Secondly, the demands of Belize are not the demands of other areas that have so much people. You have to build more roads, you have to build more electricity, you have to build. So we can, at a pace, build the nation. We are not Mother Teresa's, we are not saints. So do not expect that everybody in Belize should be a saint. But what we, the people, are to demand their rights, their freedoms, as our Constitution so provides. We have in Belize, our Constitution, first of all, is based on the supremacy of God. That's the preamble. Supremacy of God and the guarantee of certain freedoms and rights of people, such as to do what we are doing, free expression, free association, free religion, and freedom, provided that freedom does not infringe on the rights of others. In other words, I can play my radio in my home for me, but not to disturb my neighbor.
It makes sense.
Exactly. I can walk the streets of a town without getting in the middle to obstruct the traffic. So our freedoms have conditions, have limitations, but we do have freedoms. And Belize is blessed with that freedom, that nobody is molesting you, nobody is prohibiting. For example, there's an example, at night you go and sleep, no one has the right to disturb that sleep. Hence, we have a police force that is being trained more and more to be the guardians of that tranquility, the guardians of that peace, of that silence that we demand when we are at rest. And so, that's why I'm saying Belize can become, or will become, the Mecca of tourism of Central America.
See, you heard it here. You
I am
heard it here.
seeing that gradually coming, and let's hope that everything will come to fruition.
I believe it will, because everyone has had the passion and the vision to see that happen, and it's continuing. And you know, you're educating, so that's a beautiful thing. I would like to ask you to go back and speak about George Price. And the reason is many people that are listening to Belize Talk Radio, they know Belize, they know it's the Caribbean, they know it has jungle and rainforest. Some know it's not an island, and some know we have islands, but we're mainland also. But very few people know the father of the nation, and you were there side by side with him.
Yes.
Tell us who George Price was.
Okay, George Price, first of all, came from a very closely united family. George's father was a disciplinarian. He was a former army captain. His mother was a very humble young lady from Orange Walk, titled Escalante. They grew in Belize City in a very, very modest life. Nothing, in fact, not even a car. Okay. So George, at an early age, got the call to go and study the religious profession. He went away to study, and in Europe, in Rome, but during the war, he had to cut his studies and return to Belize.
And come back.
From here, there was an opening in Guatemala at a seminary, and he went to do his studies for the priesthood in Guatemala. But suddenly, his daddy died. He was the eldest brother. He returned back to take care of his mommy and sisters, younger than him, or one older. And so George, in Belize, got an offer to work for the richest man in the country, Mr. Robert Sidney Turton, who had this big chicle and mahogany timber operation. So George became the secretary of this rich man. George was a very, very religious man. He would go to Mass every day, even though he was no longer following the vocation, the religious.
I'm going to stop you right there because
No.
we have to take a break, even
No.
though I don't want to.
Go ahead.
Hold on, everybody. And, you know, those commercials do occur. We're going to take a quick break, but we're going to come back and hear more about George Price. I'm your host, Macarena Rose. You're listening to Belize Talk Radio on the Overseas Radio Network.
Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, Macarena. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena, que tu cuerpo es para dar la alegría y cosas buenas. Dala tu cuerpo alegría Macarena.